Du-du-du-du-du-du. All right, let's just check gotta check the audio, make sure that the audio is working. I don't know. Maybe there's some other way to do this rather than just 10 seconds, 30 seconds of every video, checking my own audio. Hey, I can hear myself. Fantastic. All right, Blenny Bobs, let's go. Oh wait, so let's do this. So the thing is that like I've been working on this project for a really, really long time. What do you think about AI tools? I think that like it's really an issue about management because like who cares if it's an AI tool or if it's a human being? What's the difference? I have a dog, and like yesterday I had a big problem with this dang dog. So I take this dog for a walk twice a day. Usually the second time I get him to run. So like recently I've been riding a bicycle and I ride it 4 kilometers. One of those kilometers is up a hill, one of those kilometers is down a hill. And so the dog is just like running full speed. And this thing is just so happy. It loves to run. And I don't know. So yesterday I let him. Coming back from our regular walk. Just it's the walk is just a walk. We go for a walk every afternoon for an hour, and we get back home, and he just decides that he doesn't want to listen to me anymore. He just goes and runs off, and then he's running up and down the river. He smells something, and he thinks that he's the boss, and this is his territory. And he's going to go figure out he's going to solve some magical problem. There's like 5 other street dogs in the area, and then like a little bit wider than that, there's like 10 more dogs. So I mean, what? So what? Did the dog come into our neighborhood, and like now what is he going to do? Like, so, I don't know. Anyways, he doesn't want to listen to me, so he stays outside, and I have a meeting, so I come back and I'm in my meeting, and then like he's just barking outside. It's crazy. All the neighbors are like, these dogs are dog barking. So eventually, I take my computer outside with my internet connection. I got a portable. I use my iPad, and I have a SIM card connected to it. So I just grab the iPad and the MacBook, and I'm walking around outside. Gordon, and then tell Gordon to come back home. And then what? Like, how do you deal with this dog? Um, I didn't give him his treat. I didn't give him his treat. Anyways, what's the difference? It's a dog, so you just manage it. Like you decide what kind of relationship you want to have with this dog, and then you can't predict all of its behavior. And then you tried your best to manage its behavior. You provide incentives. Like, well, I don't know. Let's take a look at like some of Tom's work. I've talked about this before. I call it drive, state drive. So Tom's work, he calls it state drive. Let's share my screen. All right. Now, it's important to understand the Fox motivation model, I think, because the basis behind the state drive is similar to, and in fact, this is also, there's this one YouTube channel. It's the founder of this uh, app called Sandcastles, and Sandcastles, he's got some pretty good. So he's talking about like the what is it? My free guide to how to make viral videos, and then he's got another one. It's called "Grow 10 times faster on social media with Sandcastles." So I've been doing a lot of like thinking about his products recently, and I took his. So this is the question: how do you get the customer to buy the first time, compared to how to get the customer to buy the second, third, and fourth time? So obviously, the first time is going to be through marketing messages. The second, third, and fourth time is going to be number one. It's going to be through product quality, and then number two, it's going to be through customer service, and then number four, it's going to be what? It's going to be what the overall relationship. Does your product provide some kind of hook? All right, so then you go into the hook methodology, and what does that hook methodology look like? So, the concept of where there's some kind of trigger. So, does your product provide some kind of external trigger to get you to take action? And then there's some kind of variable reward, And then after that, you put in some kind of investment. So now internal trigger, you want to take action to see if your reward can change. So you have to your product has to have some kind of reward seeking behavior. I suppose that all relationships to some extent they have some kind of reward seeking behavior. So all right, so external trigger. Um, yeah, so how do you trigger somebody? That's a good question. How do you get somebody to trigger? Meaning, how do you get them to take action? So, if you want to provide some kind of external trigger, then it means that you are going to say something, you're going to do something, it promotes some kind of action, and then they are going to have some kind of behavior. And then after they receive the reward of their behavior, then they're going to make some kind of investment, and then there's going to be some kind of internal trigger. All right, so that's number four. Number 3 is your customer service. Like, because at the end of the day, it's a relationship with the company, it's a relationship with the product. And then number 2, it is the which it's supposed to resolve. See, what's the difference between 2 and 4? So the hook, it means that because there's competitors, there's other service providers. Like, for example, the question, why do I use Google Gemini rather than ChatGPT? Well, it's because of there's some feature. There's some problems I can solve with Google Gemini that I can't solve with ChatGPT. Several. For example, look at this. I can click this link. Oh, interesting. So I can hear the audio, but you can't hear the audio. Interesting. Okay. Okay, so that audio doesn't go actually feed into my feed, which is kind of interesting. Anyways, this is amazing. This I use this tool all day long. I just paste because the problem is with Google Gemini is that it only reads at one time the speed, but then in this one I can put it up to two times the speed. So it means that I can get in through information much quicker. So that's number one. Number two is when I use my phone. So the thing is like I can use my Google Gemini app. I can upload an image and of a like a workbook in a language. I speak Chinese, Russian, and now I'm learning French. And I can upload like a page from like an exercise book, and I can just get it to start to push me through. Ooh, excuse me. Can you imagine a guy on a YouTube video? I can because it just happened. All right. So, for example, look, I just upload an image to my Gemini app, and then there's one button that says "Talk live about this." Check this out.
The attached image is a page from a workbook, likely for a French class.
Oui. Tu parles français?
Oui, je parle français. Comment puis-je t'aider?
You see how amazing that is? All right. So, and I tested the audio from ChatGPT and from Google Gemini and the features, and I just feel like the Gemini one is better. It's real simple. So what does that mean? It means that like I'm sticking with Google Gemini. Also, the context window, 1 million tokens. So right now, like I'm trying to resolve some problem with Supabase, and it's like it's really intense. Anyways, let's quickly go through this, and then I'll jump back into Supabase. So like I've been really thinking about like what's the difference between when you're doing Instagram, when you're doing social media marketing campaigns. Basically, you have two options. Either you're creating inspiration and excitement, or you're creating explanation and education. Problem is that most people, when they create their Instagram page, it's mainly just a brochure. And also people basically their website or their website is also just a brochure. Now the thing is with my website, so like I have a website. My Project Arrowhead website, the project I've been working on for a heck of a long time. It's not just a website. Like you click this button, oh, your pricing, use the free tool now. Use the free tool. Look, it's actually a tool. You click my website and it's actually a tool you can immediately start using Like, so I have two value propositions. One is this idea that you can use some of Tom's methodology in order to think through your tasks, and then you can create a task list, and you can think through your projects. And there's 17 questions. You see, like, so the whole purpose of this of the concept is, look, 17 questions that for more better task lists to use inside your project management software. You go through this whole process, and in fact, as you go through this process, each page has an add task list. You can add tasks directly to the final task list. Bada bing, bada boom. So now the thing is that, like, I also got this thing called the Rabbit Race Goal Tracker. Where's my Rabbit Race Goal Tracker? Rabbit Race Goal Tracker. So I built this other like little tool just recently. All right, so like, did I do my French and Russian and Chinese exercises? So today I'm gonna do dialogue one for French, and then I can move my rabbit over, and then like I'm gonna set up Stripe. In fact, that's actually gonna be the next one. I'm gonna set up Supabase, and then once I finish that, I can click that over there. So the thing is that all the UX and the UI of the pro version, like the base code, is already ready to go, but I can't see it because there's a problem in the Supabase. So the Supabase, I can't like log in. Anyways, apparently I got some news article, and then I'm writing a children's book, a third book in a series of children's books, and then I think so. Back to the original topic, which is about AI, and the thing is, so like I use Gemini, and then I'm also using Windsurf because why? Because I'm creating a product. Next, I have to start doing social media. So I think what I'm going to be using is going to be a combination of InVideo and Sandcastles because I got to start creating marketing messages. So how am I going to do your marketing message research? It's going to be through Sandcastles. And then how are you going to actually produce the videos? Most likely, I'm going to have to do that through another AI tool because I don't know, like I could just record myself. Hey, it's me. But the thing is, like, that's not scalable because I don't want to have to create the marketing messages myself forever. So why not just start with InVideo? If it can do it now, it can do it forever. So let's just start with something scalable. All right. So we talked about the hook, and we talked about something called Instagram posts, and it can't just be a brochure because if it's a brochure, then what does that mean? Activities which direct potential. All right, so you have content that LinkedIn promotes. You have content that Instagram promotes. You have content that the platform promotes. Why? Because it's inspirational, it's excitement. And why? What's the algorithm that they use? So now the guy from Sandcastles, he has like a simple way of describing it. He says, all right, so let's say that you use the concept of minutes per user. So you got the number of users times the number of minutes spent on the platform. So if you have 20,000 users that are on the platform for 5 minutes a day, that's 100,000 user minutes per day. And at every X amount of those user minutes, the platform can slot in a new ad. Now, the thing is, okay, formula is what 100,000 users per user minutes times six. So the thing is that like I jumped onto my Instagram page. I was showing this to one of the people that I talked to, and I was like, check this out. So how often do they send me a sponsored post? And we discovered that actually 3 out of 4 posts were sponsored posts. So it doesn't even show me the content from the people I follow. It just shows me sponsored posts all day long. I think it thinks that I don't follow enough content. So it's trying to recommend more pages for me to follow because it's hoping to try to get me addicted. All right. So that goes back to the concept of the hook because what's happening on Instagram is that it's trying to trigger behavior. And so it's showing me sponsored posts because it wants me to take action. It wants me to comment. It wants me to like. It wants me to react some way to the content. And if they don't have enough, if I'm not following enough people, then like there's not enough magnetism. There's not enough gravity to pull me back into their product. And so my experience on Instagram in general is it's like I'm not getting that much dopamine. I mean, every time I see a girl in a swimming suit, I just flip it away right away because I want to have like a very conservative approach to this app. I want to see like is there anything sticky besides like things that are tapping into like the human sexual desire. I mean, if you can't show me content that is not interesting to me and doesn't provide dopamine and it's not educational, then like I don't know, like at some point I just realized like that's what's this platform about really? And then what am I actually interested in? Apparently, I'm not that interested in Instagram if it's not tapping into some deep, dark desire. Anyways, do TikTok. Like right now, it's like I jumped onto TikTok and I'm like, okay, normal post, some guy from India, and then swimming suit. And then it's like every fifth post is a swimming suit. And I was like, why do they show me every fifth? All right. So the algorithm will only push two types of videos. There's videos that bring in new users onto the platform to create new user sessions, and then videos that keep existing users from leaving the platform to extend existing. Okay. So now what's number one? So number one, there's two levers. Number one, it means a video that people are sharing. So imagine I make a video and a billion people are like clicking share, 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 share. And then those billion shares turn into new users entering the app because they wanted to view that image. And then they're like, "Hey, maybe Instagram is worth taking a look." All right? So this is like this is a referral. What they're doing is they're turning their people into ambassadors. So if we talk about the concept of the inbound marketing cycle, what we can do is we can come and look at the red zone. So the red zone is something called delight, where you're turning your customers into promoters. So when you turn your customer into a promoter, that means that your customers are going to bring in the new strangers, and then once they bring in the new strangers, then they're going to that means they're going to create some awareness. They're going to start looking at these posts, and then decision, there's all kinds of decisions. There's different layers of decisions in Instagram. Like you can make a decision to only view, you can make a decision to start to like and comment, and you can then make a decision to make some posts. And it's all related to your trust, the trust level that you have with the site and your relationship with the site, and then also your relationship with other people on that site. So if you trigger somebody to make a comment, then it just there must be some assumption that in the mind of the person writing the comment, that person somehow psychologically is making a connection, not only to trust the platform, but a willingness to communicate with the people who've created the content, which is kind of crazy, especially because like there's just you never met that person. You probably will never meet that person, but in your mind, there's like some special thing that's happening. It's like, doesn't that seem kind of crazy? Anyways, so you're sharing the content of other people. And then what happens? You bring new users onto the platform. Or you also have videos that keep existing users from leaving the platform. So imagine that you have some kind of like some post and then everybody's watching it. Like every time Instagram sends that post to one of their one of their users, then they're like watching the whole post. They're like, "Wow, that was an amazing post." So every time people are viewing the whole post, like let's say it's a video, they watch the whole video. If they watch it multiple times, then Instagram is going to send that to more and more people, like larger and larger cohorts. All right, so then in his video, this dude from Sandcastles, he's like, basically, you have content that brings new users onto the platform, and then you have the content that keeps users on the platform for longer. And then he goes in and talks about like what is the three main things that drive the highest amount of shares. Number one is TAM resonance. I started thinking about his concept of what is TAM resonance. And so imagine you're selling some kind of food and it's an entertainment based food. So what we're talking about is like how many posts can you create which you would call scroll stoppers? You're trying to create scroll stoppers. So like over here we have entertainment. So we got meme, comedy, news, hot, not. We got trends. All right. So this is one type of entertainment. And then we got another kind of entertainment is physical attraction, visually satisfying, aspirational inspiration. So this is called entertainment as well. Then we got education. So we got food and drink combo, weekend activities, things like that. All right, so that's education. And then my specific demographic is like the 18 to 25. I think you can go deeper and deeper into your total addressable market, but this is one way to just from a helicopter view, as the Russians would say, and I think we call it bird's eye. From a bird's eye view, this is like from a distance. From a distance, this is what I see. This is what this company is focusing on. And then you can go deeper and deeper and deeper. Then the other thing is this concept of like ideal explosiveness, emotional magnitude, and novelty. Now, I think this also connects with some of Tom's work because we're talking about idea explosiveness. So let's make a list, and this is where sandcastles is really helpful because what you can do is they're going to help you to. They have something called an outlier score, and the outlier score it's like how shocking or unusual is the idea frame, and then okay, so then you make a list of idea frames. So based on these concepts your scroll stoppers. You're going to make lists of these idea frames within those topics, and then you're gonna like figure out what is the emotional magnitude, how large of an emotional response will this idea create, and then go into novelty. How new is this topic or premise? So you can use these concepts in order to figure out how to make your videos more shareable. Now, I don't really want to go into the second part of this yet, but I just wanted to know that there is this concept where, basically from the Fox motivation model, it's also talking about these two factors, which is number one is a facilitation trigger. What's that? That's education. And what's a spark trigger? That's entertainment. So the whole concept of from going from no action to action, based on what this guy from Sandcastles is trying to say, is like your content has to either be educational or it has to be entertainment. That's how you get people to what? Take action. And what kind of action? Share, like, comment, and then eventually the hook tells you that people will eventually they're going to want to start to invest, which means that at some point comments and likes and shares and things like that, but they're actually going to start to make their own content, and then that content will get them to start using that app. Now that investment, if you go down to the bottom, that investment it's going to show up in like content. They're going to start storing value on that platform. So that's really the key. It's like how do you get somebody to move from one to another? And like if you're in a relationship for a long time, there's a lot of stored up value. That's why something like it's like a relationship. You're putting money into a relationship. You're putting like likes and comments and compliments into a relationship. And then someday you make a mistake, and then she's angry and she's like, "Hey, I don't appreciate the way that you've done this." But you stored up so much value previously that I'm willing to what? I'm willing to forgive you. Great. That Tom talks about, which is the I talked about many times, which is the Buckholz drive model. And the Buckholz drive model is telling us that people they have to have a purpose. When you're managing people, like when I'm managing my dog, like I give him some treats. What am I giving him some treats for? Well, I'm giving him treats because why? So I want him to improve his level of effort, and I want him to improve his level of success. Like, so which one is which? Level of effort is connected to interest. How interesting is this? How much internal motivation do I have? And and if the person doesn't have enough internal motivation, then you have to find ways to increase that level of motivation. So this is related to Fogg's motivation model, where you're providing some kind of spark trigger. You have to help them to connect more deeply with that purpose. Whereas the level of success is going to be about education. So you have to find some way in order to help that person to develop step by step a higher level of ability, skills, knowledge, and then give them access to methods so that they can increase their competency and go from a recollecting panda bear to a extremely productive honeybee. So, how does that connect with AI? The whole purpose that I've been explaining this thing is because I think that uh, you know it doesn't matter if you're talking to an AI bot or if you're talking to a real human. So what's the issue? The issue is that like a lot of people they need to augment their reality. Like what's holding back our society from much more productivity? And it's because right now we have varying levels of effort. Some of the people that are putting in the most amount of effort they used to be like a 9 or a 10 in their level of success. But now there is a new method in town. There's some new tools. And suddenly the guys who used to be a 9 or a 10 have just now they're at like 1 or 2. So somebody that used to be competing, they were a honeybee and you're like, "Wow, you can fly, you can make honey, you can dance." Like, wow. And then suddenly AI pops onto the scene and then boom, you got to retool. Like now, these people are like hamsters. They're just running on wheels with no progress. Or they're just picking up the paper and the trash. Take out the paper and the trash with Arnold Schwarzenegger. So, anyways, that's why it's like it shouldn't matter if you're managing people or if you are managing AI. The point is that if you don't have management skills, then you're not going to be able to thrive in an AI society. And until we have this AI that doesn't need you to tell it what to do. See, the thing about AI is it's generative AI, but what's the point of why is it going to generate something if it's not being asked to generate? See, this is the weird thing about humans is that we have to eat. Like I have to eat. And then like I want to have a relationship. I want to have a reputation. I want to have health, financial, physical health. There's if we go into Tom's book, he calls it state purposes. And he talks about the fundamental purposes of life, the drive of life. Why is it called state drive model? Well, this is talking about what level of effort and what level of success. Now, if we want to go deeper into the concept of level of effort, then we're going to go into the fundamentals of drive. Now, if you want to go into the fundamentals of drive, then you're going to have to buy Tom's book because I don't know where I put it. It's one of these tabs, but I can't remember which one. Anyways, state purposes. If you want to go through state purposes, listen. Like, if you want to talk about state purposes, I literally made like a 20. I felt like this was such an important topic, and that Tom's book was so difficult to understand related to this topic that I made like a playlist where I go step by step through this concept. It's called state purposes. Exactly. You see the state purposes live lecture series. So if you go into the state purposes live lecture series, you're going to see how many videos is this? 20 videos, 21 videos. I made 21 videos. And for some reason, my vision for public office, I don't remember what I said in that. Anyways, what are we talking about? So generative AI, it doesn't have purpose. Like, what's the purpose? It's like, I sometimes when I'm like really exhausted, I don't know what to do with myself or my time. I'm just like, I want to die. And I lay down in my bed and I play some video games, play Brawl Stars. And then I'm like, why am I laying here? I'm just doing nothing. I'm so exhausted. I don't know what to do. And then I just turn over and I click ChatGPT. And I'm like, ChatGPT. And he's like, yes, how can I help you? And it's like, I'm dying. It's like, well, you need to call an ambulance. I'm like, no, I'm not actually dying. I'm laying here doing nothing. Oh, I see. What can I help you with? What do you mean, what can I help you with? Well, don't you have your own will? My will is to help you. It's like, wow. It doesn't have any fundamental desire. So, where are we? Let's jump in this damn super base. Super base. Super duper base. Oh, that's the wrong size. Just before. All right. Okay, so what are we going to do now? I'm just hoping to get some kind of like resolution to this issue. All right. Let's see if we can still hear. All right. Okay, are we going to be able to sign in? Here's Webmaster. This log is the final definitive clue we needed. Thank you. The error message converting null to a string is unsupported on the whatever. Okay, go to the SQL editor, start a new query, enter the entire script. Sometimes I check because the thing is like this. So this one's called Webmaster. If we look in here, you can see we have a Webmaster and then we have Architect 11. So sometimes I go between these two and I ask Architect 11 if he agrees with Webmaster. And but this time I'm not going to. All right, let's jump into the SQL editor. And new snippet. And run. All right, now what was the next one that we wanted to do? All right, it's then next. So step 2, test login the final check. After you run this, go to the Project Arrowhead sign up page. Okay, I'm gonna just do a new incognito window. Which page am I sharing? I'm sharing this page. Okay, so if I open up a new incognito window, it should be the same size. No, it's not the same size. Interesting. Oh yeah, it is the same size. Yes, it's the same size. Okay, so here's my website. It wants me to give me a test user. I got 3 different permission levels of test users, and we're gonna test it. All right, so this is like the very first time. If it doesn't fail, this is the first time I'm. Dang it. All right, so I just took a screenshot. I opened up the inspect tool, and I had the inspect tool on network or console or something like that. And then I took a copy and paste the console output. Now all this stuff I never learned from anything. Like I literally learned all this from Google Gemini. Google Gemini, I would say like, "What do I do?" And then it would say, "Do this," and then I'm like, "That's too hard," and I would cry for 5 minutes, and then I would like come back and say, "I've been crying for 5 minutes," and then this is why you crying. I said, "I don't know what you're talking about." All right, so let's jump into the. What we're gonna do is we're gonna go into here, and all right, so I made some changes and still got this error. Webmaster said. Then I go over to Webmaster, and I'm just gonna copy that and put it in here. Now, what did Webmaster say, by the way? So it's Webmaster is basically just saying you got to make some changes. It's telling me to go to the SQL editor and then run some kind of command. Okay, so they basically said the same thing. All right, just go over here. We're in the SQL editor. We're going to create a new snippet. We're going to run it. And then what do we do? What we're looking for, when you run this, it shows us a value for the token field. If you see null, in any of these throws columns, my last script failed correctly. If you see the string, this one, I'm just going to take a screenshot. I should be showing it in my WhatsApp. Okay. All right, which one is this? This one is this is architect. Okay. How did that even happen? I just had a brain fart and that was weird. Anyways, it confirms exactly what Webmaster suspected. The column empty is null. This is the problem. The C script created user but didn't fill in the required. We can fix this in 30 seconds. We can fix this in 30 seconds. It's going to be more than 30 seconds, by the way, because I'm going to just architect thinks this. And while we're thinking, I'm going to show you on my screen. Okay, nothing. Oh, right. Yes, architect is 100%. Run the script. All right, we're going to go to the SQL editor. We're going to run the script. All right, I'm going to take a screenshot. Now, what does it tell us we're supposed to do? Then we're going to go and test out the. All right, so I'm just going to copy the sign-in page. And I have one incognito tab open already. I mean, we could just, so it's this, oops. Now we can log in with the test owner. And then go to the password. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Looks like we've got 16. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, I'm really just waiting for this to work. These days it will work. Now, the thing is that let's create a new, I think we're going to create a new incognito tab just in case. You just never know when this stuff is going to be a problem because yeah. Okay. All right, what do we got on our screen? What do we got over here? Yeah, everything's fine. Okay. I have a question for architect. I just tried to log in right now. Okay, check this out. All right, so I'm gonna just try to log in right now. Inspect and console. So there should be a new one. This is the smoking gun. They're telling me that this is the smoking gun. Now, sometimes what I do now is like if I've tried to debug it like 5, 6, 7 times like this, and it's like if it seems like it's going around in circles, then I don't know. I start to wonder if there's a problem with the debugging process over here. All right, so it's telling me to run this script. I really was hoping I could like get into my website today. Like, I mean, like right now. We're going to ask for it to print out a report, and then we're going to pass that report back into Windsurf and see if Cascade has a different approach to our experience. It worked. Okay, so it worked. Let's see if it magically worked. Frosty Lucky Charms. Is your suggestion the same as architect? All right, so we're going to. What is that? The honk of victory? Did you guys hear that? We got a horn honk. That means we're very victorious. I'm so excited. We got the honk of victory. Okay. All right. So I'm tired. Wait, just check that error message. Database error query schema. Yeah. I got 20 minutes. Okay. This was going to be last time. We had the horn of victory. Yeah. I think it's just doing the same thing. So we're just running around in a circle. This is the problem when like you don't know anything about software coding. At some point, I can't see the difference between like the last several scripts that we've been running and the output that we're getting. So at some point, it's like we're just running around in circles. All right, so provide a full report of what we're working on, what we did in the database, Supabase, the errors and issues, and will get Cascade Architect to debug this issue. Keep asking me to do the same thing, and we are getting the same result. Failure, and I can't use a failing system anymore. It's proposing a solution. All right, where are we? Okay. Uh, yeah, well, we spent enough time on this for today. I think I have some more time in the afternoon. I was really hoping we could just like get the answer. See, this is the issue with not really knowing what the problem is. It's see, I started this video out by talking about like being a manager, and I mean this is really what being a manager is all about. There's two kinds of managers. What the heck is this? Faster, no email required. See, and so sometimes you get a manager who they actually worked on the factory floor, and then they worked as a manager on the factory floor, and then they move into the office, and then you're having a discussion in the office about what should happen on the factory floor, and you have one manager who's never been in the factory, or at least they've been there, but it's mostly just to observe. Then you have the other manager who worked like on the floor, worked as a manager on the floor, and now they're working in the office. Those two managers are very, very different people because of their experience level. And so right now I'm a manager, I'm working in the office, but I don't have factory floor experience. Meaning I don't really know how the code works. I don't know how the database system actually works. I don't know how these things are actually doing what they're doing. And so the only thing I can do is I can ask questions like, "Hey, what do you think about this? And what do you think about this? And can you guys talk about this and compare your answers? And then can you create a solution? And then can you monitor his solution and ask me and figure out if that's the right solution?" All I can do is go back and forth between people who know what's going on. Now, which method is better? Well, I mean, obviously, if you have factory floor experience, you know how the code works, then you're gonna be able to find the solution much, much, much faster. But then on the other hand, you may always be the kind of guy who needs to be on the factory floor. You're now working in the office, but like, your strength is that you always have the ability to base your decision on your own experiences. You go into the factory, you talk to the very specific people, you find the answer, you solve the answer. Now, as you move up through the organization, there's always going to be a time and a place where suddenly you slip. Like, it doesn't matter how much experience you have in one area or another. If you continue to move up the corporate ladder, there's going to be at some period you're going to hit the ceiling, and it means that you no longer have the ability to understand the specific on the floor nuts and bolts answer to the questions that you're to the problems that you're trying to solve. So then at that point, you have to have the skill to be able to manage other people, and you have to be able to manage them in a way that they are going to work together to solve the problem. Now, with the invent of AI, now it seems as though we're getting closer and closer to a time when I can just ask the AI to talk to each other and solve the problem. And that's how it's always been through human history. We've always designed small, simple tools, and then we use those tools to create a more complex tool, and we use that to we just keep going step by step in order to instead of running SQL using a center page, I'll create a script that uses Supabase admin to create it. All right. Anyways, maybe in the next video we'll have the ability to actually look at my page, like what's happening inside of the website of the paid version of the application. And but until then, it looks like we're going to be creating a test user proper. Thanks for joining me here in the space between ideas. And I'm Glenn Gates. Sayonara.